Hey there, I have a special announcement. From May 22nd through May 28th, I'm rerunning my most popular episodes of your weekly dose of higher consciousness, all of which are what I call foundational basics. And I understand that we need to hear what I speak about more than a few times until it really starts to sink in. And be forewarned, these are from almost 5 years ago when I first began. So I may sound a bit different than I do now. I know I feel a lot different than I did back then. So I hope you enjoy these. And then next week, you're going to find out all about something new I'm cooking up here in Colorado, just outside of Aspen. How's that for a little name dropping? In the meantime, this is your last chance to enroll in Eckhart Tolle's all-new 4-month-long immersive program for his very popular online course, The Spiritual Guide to Conscious Manifestation, where you're going to discover your true creative powers and fulfill your highest purpose. It begins with a 4-day online retreat, May 30th through June 2nd, and you can still access his free mini video series or enroll in his program at the mindbodyspiritnetwork.com/Eckhart Tolle, all one word, or click on the links below in the podcast. Now on for today's episode. Hey there. What if there was a really yummy holistic therapy for resolving pain, anxiety, sleep, and digestive issues? And what if this same therapy could harmonize your electric body? This is like your auric field, chakra system, that kind of thing, to quickly achieve greater well-being in a state of peace. And to add some yummy frosting to this already delicious cake, what if this same therapy could remove emotional, mental, unconscious, and subconscious blocks, as well as deeply rooted yet negatively oriented inherited ancestral patterns that keep us from being the change we want to see in our own lives? Finally, what if this therapy has been scientifically proven to diminish all of these prevalent issues of our lives today? Today, I want to introduce you to the power of sound healing, the power of which I'm going to put into context based on consciousness research, as many people out there would likely assume it's some sort of wingnut woo-woo, which, is it really? I don't know. You have to stay tuned and find out. So how effective is it really? I'm going to put that into context based on other things that you're familiar with. I'm also going to share my own experience with it, as well as some great resources for you to explore to experience sound healing for yourself. But before I do, my name is Liz Garcia. I'm your happy host here for your weekly dose of higher consciousness that you can find at highvibetriberadio.com on the podcast and highvibetribetv.com on our YouTube channel. I'm also founder and editor-in-chief of the mindbodyspiritnetwork.com that brings you all of these podcasts. I'm on a mission to help you raise your level of consciousness on a wide variety of topics related to transforming or shifting yourself in the realm of mind, body, spirit, health, personal development, and spiritual growth. And I support this intention by creating and curating free online events, online courses, and tools for personal transformation from luminary healers, visionary thought leaders, best-selling authors, brilliant scientists and researchers, and powerful agents of change. Today is no exception. So let's get started. So there's so much great information I can share about sound healing, I'm going to break it up into a few podcasts. And this particular episode, I'm realizing, is getting really long. So I'm going to break this week's podcast up into 2 parts. So today I want to put sound healing into context. Why is it significant? Is it powerful? Can it really shift you? Can it help heal things? That's going to be the topic of today. And then tomorrow I'm going to share my own experience with sound healing that I did while I was on a little 9-month getaway to Cape Cod. I usually live in Colorado, but I had this opportunity to spend 9 months on Cape Cod at one of my friends' lovely homes. So I opted for that because I can. So in addition to today and tomorrow's episode, I'm also I want to do an episode on the power of music and the consciousness calibrations of some of our favorite styles of music, chants and mantras, musicians and bands. I have tons of great calibrations to share. That'll be a fun one. I also want to share some free webinars from highly regarded sound healers and researchers. And I'll do that. I'm definitely going to do that next week because I want to share our most interested sound healer. We'll talk a little bit more about her tomorrow. But that particular webinar that is always available, I'll talk about next week. I'm also considering interviewing the woman whom I had my sound healing sessions with, so that you can better understand what she's feeling, experiencing, and doing as a sound healing practitioner and shaman. And I find it really fascinating I deal with a lot of mind, body, spirit, health types of practitioners in my marketing work. And I really love to understand their intuitive healing ways about them, what they've learned, what they see during practice. I find it really fascinating. So I'm hoping to give her a call and interview her because that would be fun. First of all, I love her. And she's got lots of interesting things to share with us. So that's another possibility. I need to touch base with her first. So those are there's 3 more things. There's tons of stuff I can share about sound healing, which I'll do in the next couple of months or so. So if you want to stay in the loop on all things related to sound healing from us, you can go to our sound healing sign-up page at themindbodysspiritnetwork.com/sound-SU. So that's all one word, sound, and the letters S for sign and U for up. So if you go there, you'll get into our sound healing email journey that I've created to kind of help get you started and more familiar with all that we've already curated on the topic of sound healing. And you'll receive emails on all current events and podcasts that I do in regard to sound healing as well. So you'll stay in that loop. And for sure, you'll hear about the yearly Sound Healing Summit that's put on by the Shift Network every year. And that has already come and gone. I think the date of that was last spring, if I'm not mistaken. I think it may have been April or May. In any event, it comes around every year, and you'll get in on that when you when you sign up for our notifications at themindbodyspiritnetwork.com/sound-SU. Okay. So let's get started with today's podcast. This is going to be part 1 because I'm realizing it's getting kind of long-winded, and I want to keep your attention because the first part is really something that's going to help you understand the power of sound healing and start understanding the kind of consciousness calibrations. What are they? What do they mean? And how do you put things into context in this world? This is a huge gift to our world from Dr. David R. Hawkins, who was the researcher who spent decades of his life researching consciousness. He was also a brilliant psychiatrist and had one of the largest psychiatric practices in New York when he was a practitioner there. He's also a world-renowned enlightened spiritual leader on enlightenment. but he's passed now, so, I have tons of resources to learn more about consciousness calibrations and the whole science of consciousness research. And a lot of people out there, I want to come on back if you're multitasking for one, or if you're thinking consciousness, I can't even spell it, I don't want to know. And I have to say, when someone introduced me to the topic of consciousness, I rolled my eyes back in my head, kind of figuratively speaking. It was in my thoughts. I'm like, oh God, I don't want to talk about this. But I promise you, I'm going to keep it simpler, and you're going to understand where true power in this world really exists, Is something constructive or is it destructive by nature? You're going to learn about that, and we're going to talk about that today. So, as many of you are becoming aware now, I'm a consciousness teacher and a student of the study of consciousness research. And what it is essentially putting everything that was and is into context based on a measurable field of consciousness. So, as an example, you and I are each measurable fields of consciousness. We've all got our own thoughts and beliefs about many things. We're essentially a mixed bag of consciousness depending on the topic that, spinning around in our minds and our belief system. But our predominant energy field can be measured as to its level of consciousness. And Dr. Hawkins doesn't typically like to measure levels of consciousness of people unless they're people throughout history. It's really fascinating to understand, put people into context throughout history. Did they have power? Were they evil? Were they, whatever? It can all be put into context, which Dr. Hawkins wrote a book called Truth versus Falsehood. That's an encyclopedia of these consciousness calibrations that you can start putting things into context. Super fascinating when you do this. So another example is that a concept or a book or a movie or the Constitution of the United States, for example, is a measurable field of consciousness. And you can find the consciousness calibration of the Constitution of the United States is super high vibe, by the way. And you can find that calibration in Dr. Hawkins' book, Truth versus Falsehood. Now, I just want to say, I can no longer share calibrations from any of Dr. Hawkins' books because it's all copyrighted content. And I've been notified that it's an infringement, though I think in actuality it's not an infringement because I'm sharing and teaching. But I don't need to cause problems with Dr. Hawkins and his estate because everything that he's contributed to the world is significant and huge, and I'm nowhere near the level of consciousness of Dr. David R. Hawkins. So I'm just going to refer to the books where you can find those calibrations, but there is a resource for calibrations called consciousnesscalibrations.com, for which I'm a subscriber. And the gentleman has given me permission to share his calibrations and his website because it's super interesting that the amount of work he's providing to us and providing current calibrations is really helpful in our world today. So, in regards to examples of things that can be calibrated, sound healing is also a measurable field of consciousness, which I'm going to share with you today. So we'll get to that calibration in just a minute because I need to put the map of consciousness is the context that we're going to use to share calibrations so that everything that's shared is relative to something else that you would be familiar with. This is how you start to understand, where's there true power? Is it constructive? Is it destructive? Is it helpful? Is it healing? What is it? So that's my point at the Mind Body Spirit Network, is to provide you with content, teachers, courses, and events that hold power and truth within them, which can all be measured. So The map of consciousness, this is a trademark thing that Dr. Hawkins created. It's a registered trademark. And you can I highly recommend his book, The Map of Consciousness Explained, a proven scale of energy. Now, I'm not looking at the book right now. A proven scale of energy to essentially manifest your ultimate potential. The Map of Consciousness Explained is a simpler version of his original book, which is Power versus Force, which is a much more intellectual, high-level kind of researcher science lingo. It's a little challenging to understand, so I like to refer to the Map of Consciousness Explained as a much easier one to start with. So the Map of Consciousness is a scale of 0 to 1,000. And it's a logarithmic scale, meaning every point on the map is a log 10. So 200 on the map of consciousness is 10 to the 200th power. 300 on the map is 10 to the 300th power. And just imagine a number like 200 on the map of consciousness. The number is the number 1 with 200 zeros after it. 300 is the number 1 with 300 zeros after it. Now, if you're good at math or logarithm, you can see that going up the scale, even 1 point is quantum in nature, is huge. So I just want to, put this into context. Anything above 200 on the map of consciousness is powerful, constructive, positively oriented, upward pulling, and transformative by nature. Anything below 200 is the opposite of that. So, what my intention is to share powerful content, stuff that holds power and truth and that can help you. There's more than enough garbage out there that calibrates below 200. Okay, now I'm sounding kind of like righteous. But anyway, there's more than enough stuff out there that's self-help kind of related that is a weak attractor field, essentially. Anything below 200 is a weak attractor field, meaning that it holds no truth or power to shift you, and in fact can be destructive if you give it your attention, and it's like a toilet bowl of energy. It's going to bring you down if you're going to let it, and you don't wake up and realize, okay, this doesn't make me feel good. That's an indication. Something it doesn't feel good, you're like, okay, I'm not loving this so much. Though all of us can be, deceived by the wolf in sheep's clothing, and all of us are on a daily basis just by watching the news and paying attention to advertising, right? There's a lot of things that hold no truth that are destructive to our world. Another important thing to understand, because the narcissistic core of the ego within all of us, we are all this way or can be, is that these calibrations are not judgments or opinions. They are simply calibrations of energy, or what Dr. Hawkins would call impersonal attractor fields. They're just fields of energy. That's it. It's not a judgment or opinion. And the lesser part of us doesn't want to be open to the possibility that something is going to tell you in a consciousness calibration that what you're putting your attention to is no good for you. If you don't want to hear it, you're going to say, I don't believe that, and I'm not going to listen to it. But as a student of Dr. Hawkins and the truth, I care about the truth in life because I've been through some horrific stuff. I understand that calibrations are going to tell me whether something is a weak attractor field or a powerful one. I prefer to align myself with powerful attractor fields, and that's just my intention. And I don't want to be sharing stuff with you that's a weak attractor field, essentially. So let's talk about the energy field of sound healing. Is it constructive, or is it a woo-woo thing? Let's put it another way. Is it a powerful energy field or is it a weak energy field? Is it a powerful attractor energy field or a weak attractor field? Bottom line, will it help you heal from pain, anxiety, digestive issues, trauma, emotional blocks, negatively oriented, energetic, ancestral inheritance patterns? Right? Can it help you with this or not? Well, I asked, as a subscriber to consciousnesscalibrations.com, I can request calibrations. And he doesn't know who's requesting it, so there's no kind of interference energetically in who he's giving the calibrations to. He remains neutral and clinically removed from the results. So he doesn't care what the results are because he cares as much about the truth as I do. So, and we don't need to be right and prove others wrong, essentially, even though we all have that going within us. My preference is to let go of thinking I know anything and go with what the truth, what's the calibrations, what's the energy field I think is so true. Is it or is it not? According to, this is what I asked for in my request. I said, are sound healing therapies, also known as sound medicine or vibrational medicine, like tuning forks, singing bowls, gong baths, the sound of your own voice, the science and spirituality of music, healing sounds and vibrational frequencies like drumming, flute, devotional chanting, stuff like this? I asked what the calibration of this was, which I will share in a link below. You can go to the exact calibration that I have no affiliation with, except for I'm a subscriber, but I'm an anonymous subscriber. He doesn't know who's asking for these calibrations. According to consciousness calibrations, sound healing therapies calibrate at 340 on the map of consciousness, which is 10 to the 340th power, which is essentially what I figured it would be because I understand, energy healing, other kind of energy-based practices or holistic therapies have similar calibrations, although acupuncture is in the 400s, which is interesting to know. But again, so another thing you need to know is that just because something is above 200 and maybe is in the 400s or 500s doesn't make it better than something else. Anything in the above 200 that's positively oriented is positively oriented, period. And just because something's in the 400s doesn't make the thing in the 200s or the 300s, like sound healing's at 340, doesn't make it less than something in the 400s because it's just a different energy field. It only requires what it requires. Something at higher levels of consciousness has different properties or qualities to it. It doesn't necessarily make it better, especially in regards to healing, which we're going to talk about in a sec. So, I want to put this sound healing further into context. Healthy, as an overall concept, calibrates in the mid 300s on the map of consciousness. And again, I can't share the exact one, but you can check out Dr. Hawkins' book, Truth versus Falsehood, and you'll find the exact calibration of that in the mid 300s. Medicine in general, and science for that matter, calibrates around the 400s. This is the intellectual level of science and math and all this stuff. It's really the level of truth and the depth of knowledge of these particular sciences is in the 400s, which doesn't mean that medicine is better than sound healing just because of the calibration. I'm not a doctor. I haven't, I don't know the calibration of the truth of that, but I'm just saying someone may not need a doctor, right? You may not need a doctor if you just want to kind of use preventative self-care, which is kind of my feeling of what sound healing is a preventative measure to kind of maintain harmony and balance and the vibration of the cells within the body with sound. And I was watching one of these events from the Shift Network the other day, and the founder of the Shift Network, Stephen Dinan, I'm not remembering his last name, I don't know why. I've been a partner of the Shift Network for years, but in any event, the founder was having a conversation about sound and how sound healing is coming into the forefront of medicine, which I'm going to share that. That was a pretty good event to listen to a scientist speak about how sound healing is coming into our awareness as kind of like a catalyst to healing. So there could come a day where, practitioners and hospitals understand the power of using sound as a catalyst to healing from, let's say, a surgery, or a catalyst to healing for people that are in ICU or in a coma. I mean, it can potentially be huge. I don't know the truth of that, but the energy of it is pointing in that direction, that yes, it can be a catalyst to help the cells heal on a different level. My intention at the Mind, Body, Spirit Network is to help you raise your level of consciousness on a wide variety of topics. So come into new understanding and new awareness and put it into context. Like, am I giving my attention to woo-woo? Or should I wake up and give my attention to this as something that may be helpful to me in my life today? I'm bringing into your awareness today that the power to heal that is inherent there is power to heal with the inherent energy in the holistic practice of sound healing. I do want to share my own experience with this, but this is just part one. So I don't want to keep you here because part two is going to take some time as well. And I want to share that in another segment tomorrow, so that if you're driving in the car and you only have 20 minutes, you can just wrap it up here. So this is the end of part one, and then tomorrow will be part two of this podcast. So if you like what's going on here, I would love for you to rate and review us on wherever you downloaded this podcast, whether it's Apple iTunes or Google Podcasts or Spotify. You can rate and review us, and it really is helpful to get us out there and grow this channel and make it worthwhile for all of us to share the love and the power of understanding consciousness research and where true power and truth and a way to shift and change in this world really exists. I'll see you tomorrow. Hey there, Lovey Lou. If you are new to your weekly dose of Higher Consciousness podcast or an avid listener, I have something just for you. I created a landing page with all of my playlists in one place. So for new listeners, I created a playlist called Foundational Basics. This is where you will want to begin to come up to speed on your understanding of the map of consciousness, a proven energy scale for realizing your ultimate potential by Dr. David R. Hawkins, and with where we are now. For avid listeners, I've created playlists for all of my popular topics like 1001 Ways to Be of Higher Consciousness, 1001 Ways to Let Go of. Those great higher consciousness quizzes that helps you test your intuition and develop discernment skills, tools for transformation, high vibe book recommendations, and my general main topics. You can find all of these playlists on the website at themindbodyspiritnetwork.com/podcast. Or you can find it in a link below in the show notes. Now back to today's episode.